Hi, welcome to Closer to Happy.
Today, in this episode, we're going to talk about some of the practical strategies for downsizing and getting ready to move abroad, which we're about to do.
We've been in our house for 23 years, so there's a lot of emotion around this, but we're also going to talk about some of the emotional strategies for letting go of your stuff.
Letting go of things is really hard, no matter what they are. If you've owned it for a long time, you have some emotional attachment.
Yeah.
And of course, when it's something to do with your kids or your past life that were really fond memories, it's going to be really hard. But there is a process that we've been going through that we're going to share that makes it easier.
For example, with like our kids' artwork, some of it's good.
You would not believe the stuff that we held on to. It's like something that was stuck on a refrigerator, like,
That circle, the circle.
bunny ears. It's like, what?
Yeah.
We actually have a clay piece that one of my kids, my oldest son, did when he was probably 3. So it's an elephant playing a saxophone, I think,
Yes.
the bell.
Yes, it's playing a saxophone.
So to make him feel good, we actually encased it.
In a glass cloche, and it's on display in our dining room.
So we can never throw that away because it is now like, something that looks like it should be in the Louvre.
Good, but there are some things that probably can go. And then also...
You can also take pictures of artwork and it's fine.
That's it. Well, I was just going to say, you can digitize artwork, you can digitize your photos. You don't need to keep all those physical photos. And some of those photos, you don't even know who those people are.
Yeah, but things like when you have a wedding book and things that you really have some connection to.
Of course,
we're not going to get rid of that.
No, we're not, Cliff.
So I shouldn't have shredded our wedding pictures.
No.
Okay.
Okay, no, absolutely not. Anyway, the other thing is when you're looking at things, like reflecting on what you're going to bring with you and keep it light. But there are some things that I'm going to bring. Like I'm going to bring some cooking stuff, not pots and pans because I can get that in Spain, but measuring cups, measuring spoons that are different than they are, the measurements are different than they are, some spices, things like that. And I'm taking some frame photos of our family just because I want to have that familiarity, but
just not a lot.
Not very much.
Just something.
Not very much.
The memories. That
Yeah.
you need.
So just be thoughtful when you're considering that. I've heard of a lot of people that are shipping pallets of all their furniture, their pianos. It's very, very expensive and you get taxed on the other side. So people aren't considering that.
I am bringing an instrument. I'm going to buy an amp there, so I can't really make fun of somebody shipping a piano.
Yeah.
But maybe an electric piano would be better.
Yeah,
Just a
exactly.
thought.
Anyway, so just be thoughtful about and mindful about what you bring.
So it's really critical to start early and plan. So you don't have to plan everything, but at least begin the process as early as you can. Hopefully a couple of months at least.
Yeah.
And be able to really understand the pacing of what's going to happen and what you have to do when. And categorizing everything that you're packing up is really important.
Right. What we've done is we've just marked boxes and we've got a box for things we're keeping, things we're selling, things we're donating, and things that we're throwing out. And so in every single room, we go through the process of, is this something that's worth keeping, paying to store? It's a family heirloom. It's something that has so much meaning.
Yeah.
The farther into the process we get, fewer and fewer things are falling into that category. The donate box is always overflowing.
Right.
The sell box is getting less and less just because it's such a hassle.
Start losing hope.
And we've kind of gone through like throwing everything out. We've done that sort of phase one.
And you will go back and revisit these. So, it's something that you think you really want to hold on to. If you go back and double check, a few weeks later and see if you feel the same way.
You know what? I have a little checklist I've been using and I'll put that down in the comments below. That might be helpful.
Okay. So initially I went through everything that I felt had value that we wanted to sell, and we started looking at ways to sell it. And we put it on Craigslist, some musical equipment I put on reverb.com. There's
Facebook Marketplace.
Craigslist or whatever.
eBay.
Yeah, eBay. eBay is such a pain in the neck, though. I mean,
eBay is a hassle.
Selling is a pain in the neck. That is the problem with it, because you have to ship things. You've got to go through the whole rigmarole of selling to somebody. Yeah. Going through that is very time consuming, and I think not worth it a lot of the time.
And then selling. I know we have a lot of conversation around musical equipment. but we also had other things to sell. So
I only talked about what was valuable.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. I had some clothing. I had some accessories.
That's true.
That I don't use, was expensive, and I don't wear that stuff anymore, or it doesn't fit me. And so that went to the consignment store, and I've been really successful with that. We have furniture that we're not keeping in the house that is worth selling. And even yesterday I dropped off a lot of my mom's china. And even though nobody really wants it, and I'll probably get $4 for it, I felt like it was worth trying. But
it's a fine line between selling and donating, You just have to, I guess it's worth, if you really think it has a lot of, monetary value, you have to try to sell it, but you have to also give yourself a limit. Like, if it doesn't sell by this date, I'm just going to give it away. Or I'll lower the price, then give it away.
I'll tell you what, art, really hard to sell art.
Yeah.
So even though it means everything to you and you think it's the best piece of art in the world, it probably, everyone else doesn't necessarily agree. Really hard to resell art. So just take that into consideration.
Point.
And then donating, right? So
donating, the good news about that is the list of what you can donate is very broad because people need a lot of stuff, and they need things that you might not even be thinking have any value, but it has a lot of value to them. So it's awesome to look for, churches or drug rehabilitation centers or veteran groups or something, people that might really be able to use what you have.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of dog stuff, even though we don't have dogs anymore. We still have all their stuff because we're crazy. And so,
just in case a dog drops.
Which dogs do drop by. We do dog sit all the time. Yeah. So we're going to donate all the dog stuff to our local animal shelter. I donated a ton of clothing. I mean, a ton of clothing to our local women's shelter. And we're finding other places to donate things to that are really, it's gratifying. It's gratifying for us. And I think, it's going to land in a good home. But the one distinction I want to say is my sister, who's the queen of this, of organizing.
We should interview her.
Said we should. She's amazing. She said, it is not my job to hold on to every single thing and find the perfect home. Just find it a home and trust that it'll land exactly where it's supposed to. And that's been very helpful. I've had her voice literally and figuratively in my ear now for the entire process.
Word, Mel. Word. Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. Discarding responsibly is really important. So a lot of times we have things laying around our house like electronics. You have to get rid of those through electronic recycling places.
Right.
And, you may have an old heater or an old wine refrigerator, which we happen to have, that we're trying to figure out what to do with, and they have Freon in them, and you have to be careful. So definitely find out where to get rid of that stuff and don't just throw it into the dump.
No, don't. Be thoughtful.
Obviously, when you're packing up your house, you're going to probably want to store some stuff. And storage is a big deal because it's a commitment. It's a relationship you're getting into that lasts for a very long time.
Could be.
And you can really waste a lot of money storing something that you don't need. We had a drum set of my son's that cost probably $300 that we stored for about 5 years, which would have made it cost about the same as Phil Collins' drum set. And we ended up just giving it away. So anyway, the point is, evaluate what it is you're storing. Make sure that you don't store stuff you don't need because you're really wasting a ton of money if you do.
Yeah.
And then go through how you're going to store it because you may want to have things that you're going to need sooner than later towards the door that you can access, and other things that you really know you won't need anytime soon in the back.
Yeah.
Think ahead.
So when you're thinking about what to store, just focus on irreplaceable items and high value items that that means something to you and that it's worth it.
Right.
So, and then really research your storage facility, make sure it's climate controlled. And then if you have sentimental items, you can talk to family and friends about storing them. Nobody in my family will store our things, so that's out.
Nobody wants your stuff.
Nobody has room.
Especially for storage.
No, nobody has room.
Yeah.
So
also, before you store everything, take note of what's in what box and keep that sheet. Because at some point, if you think you might want something, you'll know basically where it is. And take a picture of the storage room. And if it's going to be deep, take a picture in each layer that you're putting in there so you know what boxes are where and you know how to get to it if you need it.
And inventory those boxes. Have I been doing that? No, but you should.
Oh, I thought
for sure. Have it. Oh, well. Listen, downsizing has been really challenging. I am not going to lie. It's really been difficult. And in the beginning, I was in tears every single day. But as the process has gone on, I've become much more practical about what we're keeping and the amount of time I have to savor every single thing that we have. So, and at the end of the day, who needs all this stuff? We don't really need all this stuff.
And after even a day, you'll notice a difference in your emotional connection to it. So even if you really just break down crying over some memory from a thing you're holding, it is not going to be the way you feel even in a day. And you're going to be more and more relaxed and disconnected from it as you go. Not that that's a bad thing, because along the way, as we said before, digitize it, capture it. Make sure you have a way to go back there and visit with that again in your mind. But realize that it's also super liberating to let go of all this stuff and allow yourself space to be free, to move forward unencumbered and experience life with the lightness of not having a bunch of stuff with you.
So look, we get downsizing is hard, but it's also liberating. We would love to hear from you and hear about your downsizing stories and what was the hardest and what was the most freeing.
Yeah. And if you like this video, like it, subscribe, and let's keep in touch, because this is going to be a journey we're all on together.
Ciao.
Ciao.